Okay, we're in. Can you hear us?
I can hear you now, Darla.
Okay, thank you. Sorry about that.
No, that's fine. You're fine.
All right, and we're streaming. So, and I have 7:01, so we will go ahead and call this May 20th, 2021 BZA meeting to order, and we'll do roll call. Mr. Hankerson. I didn't hear, Terry, have you had any contact from him? I haven't heard from him.
And I know he's getting his emails because they're not popping back. So I'll reach out to him tomorrow.
Okay.
And see what's happening.
Okay. All right. Mr. Looney.
Here.
And Mr. Mauger.
Yes, sir.
And Ms. Williamson.
I'm here.
And Mr. Woods was a member and is, I don't think he's on the call, but because he had a pending variance at the last meeting, he would have had to abstain. So he is present, but not voting for the purposes of these because they were pending at the same time as his. And also in attendance is Terry, the village administrator. And we got a couple guests on here because this is our continuation of last week's meeting. So, sadly, the first agenda item is approval of minutes from August 13th and May 13th, but I still think we need to wait on the August 13th ones and just do the May 13th ones. Because I think we'll have the same problem tonight. We have a quorum. I should hit record, by the way. We have a quorum. But Mr. Looney was not present at the last meeting in August, is not a member, and that only gives us 2 voting members to vote on the August 13th, 2020 minutes. So we will have to hold those until the next meeting, but we can go ahead and look at the approval of the May 13th, 2021 minutes. Did everybody get a chance to review those?
Yes, and a note to Barb, on page 14, the E got left out of creates and it just says crates. Okay, so I don't know
All right.
that need, it's a
Kay.
spelling issue. Sorry, when you're a reader
No.
and a teacher,
No,
it happens.
I hadn't read them over after I typed them, so thank you, Kay. Appreciate it.
All right, so short of that Scrivener's error, is there a motion to approve the minutes noting that Scrivener's error that Barb will update?
Yes, so moved.
All right, is there a second?
I'll
I'll second it.
Oh, Mr. Looney got the second in first. Any
Okay.
discussion on the minutes other than the Scrivener's error, which we'll note and update before publication? Hearing no further, we'll do a roll call on the minutes. Mr. Looney?
Approve.
Mr. Mauger?
Yes.
And Ms. Williamson?
Yes.
All right, so we will approve the May 13th minutes. We have some visitors on the phone tonight, or on the call tonight, but we'll get to them because they are here for our business tonight. Under old business, we've got 3 items. The 517 East Cliff Street fence variance and the 521 East Cliff Street fence variance, and the 0 Holder Road entrance to the parcel variance. I will let the committee know that Roger Woods emailed me this afternoon and has withdrawn his variance request and has indicated that he will address the road frontage issue when he makes a final determination what he's going to do on that parcel, and that'll be part of his plan that he submits to the Planning and Zoning Commission when he determines to whatever he wants to do there. So we did have that set for next week on the 27th because the committee had some questions for our solicitor, so we will be able to cancel that meeting since Roger is withdrawing that at this time. I'm sure once it gets reset, we can reschedule that meeting with the solicitor so that we can get questions answered based on whatever Roger files at that time. Which leaves us with the 517 and 521 East Cliff Street fence variances tonight. There are two variances that we discussed, had the public hearing on last week, but the committee wanted to hear from the neighbor that had emailed in about some concerns. And I do believe Rose is on the video right now. So at this time, I would just ask her to, I've got to swear. Rose, can you hear me? We can barely hear you.
Oh, okay. Maybe I'll just talk louder. Is that better?
That's not much better.
Not sure why. I guess I have a bad speaker maybe. Can you understand me at all?
Hard to hear you. Are you near your microphone?
Yes, I am. I'm right next to it. Can you hear me better now? Any better?
It's still difficult.
I'm not sure what's going on.
All right. Well, let's try to do the best we can here. Rose, I'll just ask you. It's not a public hearing tonight. Tonight's the continued discussion. So I would just ask you to give your name, address, and let the committee know your concerns with the fence location.
My name is Rose Whitlam. I live at 224 Wagner Avenue. I am been here for like 22 years. My concern about the fence, I guess, is that that side of my property is very, well, my property is very long. And my driveway is right up against my house, and that only leaves really about maybe 5 feet of property on the other side of my driveway. I feel like if that was fenced in right on the property line, it would my property would look a lot smaller than it is, and for resale purposes, I think it might possibly hinder resale. I know a lot of people like to walk. Can you understand me?
No, Rose, can I ask you to maybe try to join via the phone?
Sure. Let me try that. Do you have a number?
It's on the invite, Rose, that you received.
Okay, I'll look at that.
All right, we'll give her a minute because I don't know. Did any of you make any of that out? I'm seeing head shake. No, yeah, I had a hard time.
I couldn't hear
it too.
anything.
Yeah.
She kind of
so
sounded
let's
like Charlie Brown's teacher.
Wah, wah, wah.
Mm.
So we'll give her a second to try to connect here via phone. While she's connecting via phone, did anybody on the committee have any additional questions for Ms. Conway or Markham, who are on the call at the moment regarding the fence. No?
No, I just wanted to know what Rose's concerns were.
Yeah. And Terry, while Rose is connecting here, we did receive the letter from the realtor, from Ms. Markham, about the fence not affecting property, but we didn't get anything from Ms. Witham that's trying to connect via phone, correct?
That is correct. Ms. Markham sent that to us and it was included in the package to all of the committee members. I received nothing from Ms. Wickham.
All right. Hopefully she's connecting here in a second.
Okay.
All right, Rose.
Yeah, let me disconnect from the computer. Okay.
Your phone is muted, so we'll ask you to unmute your phone and then mute your computer. I believe it's *6 to unmute your phone. All right, are you there?
Yes. I'm here.
All right, that's a little better.
Now I need to get rid of my mic on my computer. Okay.
Oh.
So I'm back.
All right. A little better, but not great. So again, what was the concern here?
Well, I guess I'm kind of wondering why I need to.
Rose, are you on speaker?
No.
Maybe she turns her computer all the way off, Mayor, and just is on the phone instead of just mute.
Well, here, I can mute your I can mute your computer, Rose. There. I think I can. All right, you're muted. Let's try your phone again. Are you there? Rose?
Did you mute her entirely?
I did not mute her phone. Her phone still shows unmuted.
Okay. I didn't know you could mute us.
It's a fun little feature.
I'll have to watch what I say. You may want to mute me.
I've only used it a couple of times throughout the past year when there's been background noise in someone's house and they're not the one speaking at the time.
Okay.
In general, I leave them off mute. So, Rose, are you there? All right. Well, I'm not hearing Rose, so hopefully she'll come back in. We know from her email that the concern was placing it on the property line might devalue her property. We've got a letter from a realtor here, from Ms. Markham, that says it won't. As I noted in the last meeting, it's my intent to have Planning Commission reevaluate whether or not we should continue to keep the 1 foot off the property line for fences, or be a little more consistent with other communities and allow them to go up to the property line. And again, I'll note that if that is a change that the Planning Commission does adopt and make, I think it's only appropriate that we would refund their variance request fees if that happens, because that is they shouldn't have to pay for slow moving government. So if it is granted. So until we can hear back from Rose, whose microphone I see speaking, but I don't hear anything coming through, we'll just open it back up here for discussion. We can barely hear you.
Okay. I guess my concern is that my property is narrow and long.
No, it sounds like you're about 10 feet away from your computer. Are you speaking into your phone?
Yes.
I'm sorry, Rose, but the only thing that seems to be picking up is a little bit from your computer, it shows me, and we can't hear you. Are you hearing me through your phone okay?
Yes.
Is everybody else on BZA hearing this? It sounds like she's about 10 feet away from the phone.
Yeah, you can barely hear anything.
All right.
I'm not hearing anything.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's
Let
do
me
with
ask
what
this
we
question,
can.
Mayor.
Yeah.
Okay, so would it be best if you stated her concerns and had her at least answer yes or no so that we can hear our, I mean, I think we need to get this, a decision made tonight, and I'm just trying to think of a creative way of doing it.
Yeah. I mean, again, the email was that she couldn't attend last week. She would prefer, and this is a quote from the email, that I prefer that their new fences not be placed directly on the lot lines with my property. I feel the fences would be too close to my driveway if placed on the lot line and might affect the appraisal of my property when I am ready to sell. I live just around the corner. I did at the last meeting, I pulled it up on the auditor's site, and it looked like there was about 10 feet in between the lot line and the driveway. I live just around the corner from this location, and so had a chance to go by. And it's, quite frankly, we have a lot more parcels in the village where the driveways are a lot closer to the lot lines than here. Admittedly, I didn't go, stop and look for pins or anything, but from where the driveway location is to the shed that will be part of the fence line for I believe it's Miss Markham's property. It might be Miss Conway's, but anyway, for the shed that's kind of going to be enclosed, there was a decent amount of road frontage, or not road frontage, but grass there, so that it's not one of those cases like we've had in another parcel in the village where the driveway is literally on the lot line, and when someone put up a fence, it prohibited another party from opening their car door. That is not the case in this instance.
Mr. Mayor,
it is not. Yes.
I'm sorry. I took a picture between Rose and my garage today, from on the property line from like my garage toward Wagner. And I just sent those to Terry because I'm not technologically advanced to add the photo to the Zoom meeting, but I did just send it to Terry. But it shows, if I don't know if you can see it or not, but the picture shows in the middle of the picture, there's a stake. And that stake is on the property line. There is a pin there from my, when I purchased my lot, I had a survey done, and that is a pin where you see the stake.
Okay.
So
Terry, while she's talking, if you can forward that to me, I can share it real quick.
No, it hasn't come in yet. I was just on my mail to try to get it to come faster, and it's not coming in.
I sent it by text, not through email.
Oh, through text. Oh, okay.
Sorry.
No wonder it wasn't on my computer.
So yeah, if you, no, Rose, you're still very far away.
Mayor, would
Yes.
it be possible for Rose to call yourself or Terry directly, and then you could at least relay the messages?
Or put it on speaker.
Or
Well,
FaceTime.
actually, because I'm on my phone, if she does, I might be able to patch the call through.
I changed some settings. Is it any better now?
So let me do that. Since this is streamed, I'm going to hope that the chat doesn't show up on the stream. And all right, Rose, if you can see, if you're on your computer, you can see the chat.
Yes.
I just put my cell phone number up there. If you call that, we'll cross our fingers that I'm good enough to pipe your phone call into the meeting and merge the calls. And meanwhile, I'll check my
Check your email. See if I
All
did
right,
it.
hold on, everyone.
I'm sorry about the audio problems. Okay.
All right. I was able to hear Rose pretty good. Rose, are you there?
Yes.
Can everyone else hear Rose now?
Yes.
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 Sorry about that, everyone. I have a pretty old computer. I'm not sure what it's doing with Zoom.
That's all right. So everyone can hear you now. So we'll let you go ahead and explain in your own words. I've read your email to everyone, but what was what's the concern here?
Well, I guess my first question is that, I mean, it's a variance to a zoning code. There must be a reason for the code or the regulation, I guess. And I'm not sure. I believe the reasons for fencing regulations is that so the owner of the fence can maintain the other side of the fence. Is that correct or not?
Well, and that's kind of what we've had. And I don't know if you heard now former council member Moeller had brought up several times about changing that to be more consistent with other municipalities and allowing fences to go up to the property line. And because if you put two fences side by side, you end up with like a 2-foot wide no man's land in between the two, which becomes a little bit of an issue. So the fence location is something that I intend to have the Planning Commission look at later this year. So it is entirely possible that that changes, but as of right now, it is 1 foot off the line, which is why they need a variance.
Okay, and there's only like 11 feet between our garages on the ground, and that makes about 7 feet between the gutters. If a fence is put between those garages, it would make it very difficult to put a ladder in there and get on the roof, or power wash, or get through there with any reasonable lawn tractor or anything like that. It was the fence where they plant. Darla and Tammy, are you planning on putting the fence between the garages?
No, it's going to come off of the corner of my garage, come over to the property line, and then head toward the pine tree, toward Wagner. Once it gets up to this side of Tammy's driveway, then it will turn and go toward her house. So it's the fence is not going to be on the property line the whole width or length or whichever of mine and her properties. It's really just we're just trying to kind of cut out a section for the dogs and the kids to stay in and to keep other things out. But it's not going to go. Yeah, I wouldn't put a fence between our garages anyway, because then I couldn't get in there to mow on my side either.
Right,
And
that's exactly what I was concerned about.
no, it's not going to go there. I mean, that would totally destroy any usage of that property between our two garages if a fence was placed there. And as long as I'm here, there will never be a fence there. Or it should never. I know you're never supposed to say never, but.
Well, we see each other every day. It would have been, I think, neighborly to have a civil discussion about the fence before taking it to these extremes. I tried to be a good neighbor, and
well, yeah. Ma'am, if I can stop you, it's not taking it to extremes. They have a right to put a fence on their property, and because of the location they want to put it on the property line, they have to file a variance, and then as the village, we are required by law to send out information. So I don't want to, it's not an extreme thing. It's nearly. Okay,
well, I apologize for that statement, but I just feel like a lot of these things could be worked out in a more, I could have understood where the fence was going to be, and I would, may not have objected at all to the request for a variance.
Rose, Tammy and I have talked to you 2 different times on 2 separate occasions, not recently, but over the past year. We've asked you, told you that we wanted to put a fence there, and asked if you would, if you would agree to a variance. And you had indicated both times that we had talked that you would not.
Well, so, I only recall one time that being brought up briefly a year ago, or over a year ago. It was brought up briefly in Tammy's backyard. I don't remember another time discussing a fence with you guys. I'm not to say that we didn't, but I don't recall any other time other than in Tammy's backyard one day.
Now, Rose, the email that you originally sent me in had said that you were worried about your property value if it was put on the property line. Were you able to get anything, documentation about that?
No, I didn't. I didn't know that I needed to get anything to document that. I'm not a property appraiser for sure, but just from the shape of my property being narrow and long, and with my other neighbor on the other side's house being fairly close to me, when I visualize a fence on the property line, it just seems like it would make my property look small.
Okay, well, in the email I sent you after the last meeting, I specifically said that particular question the committee wanted to hear about you was your property value,
Right.
and asked if you could provide some verification as
No.
to the diminished value based on the fence location. So I think it's inappropriate to say that you didn't know that we were requesting that information tonight.
Oh, no, I didn't mean that I didn't know you were requesting like the information. I just didn't realize that you wanted something from an appraiser or something official. I thought you just wanted my opinion or my reasoning.
All right. When I went by and looked at it, I don't know, could you hear where I was saying because I live just around the corner, I went by and looked and stuff. Okay. You have a fence up there too, correct? On the south side of your property?
Yeah, that fence was there when I purchased the property back in '97.
Okay. And do you know if there is no fence permit application in the address file for that fence. So I don't know if that fence is on the property line or 1 foot off.
I don't either. And I mean, I've lived here for 22 years, so I don't know how long the regulation has been in the zoning records.
So
I mean, it was there when I bought the house. That's all I know. I don't think it's on the property line, but
okay.
I can't tell you for sure.
All right.
And it's just a little, like, it's not even enclosed. It's just a
Right.
little decorative fence.
And if the fence goes up in the proposed location on the property line, it's not like we have in other instances in the village where you won't be able to open your car door or anything, correct? I mean, it's not that close to your driveway.
No, I should be able to open my car door. I do wonder though, like if I stay here until I'm old and I need a wheelchair, God forbid, there would be room to build the appropriate structure there for me, and I would have to widen the driveway.
But you still got roughly 10 feet from your existing driveway to the property line.
Oh,
correct?
no, I don't think it's that far. It's not 10 feet. It's maybe 6 feet.
All right. Does any committee members have any questions?
I did happen to, I'm sorry.
I was just going to ask, it sounded like you might be agreeable to this with the different understanding of where the fence is going to be. Is that right?
Yeah, well, yeah, it makes it a lot more, I guess, or a lot less concerning to me now, knowing that it's going to connect to Darla's garage. All I could picture was a fence going down the property line, which goes between our garages. And that really would have bothered me.
So if we add in as a condition to this approval, which I'm not sure if we technically need to, since it's in the variance request, but there's a drawing in the variance request that shows outlined in red where the fence would go. So would we need to, or could we add as a condition that it's approved as long as it follows this pattern per se? It sounds like there isn't a problem with the nobody's really objected to it going on the lot line if that's the case.
Yeah, one of the things the committee can do is add conditions, and so the condition can be, like you said, the drawing that's been provided indicates that it's going to go up to the edge of the garage and not past it. So one of the conditions you can add if you wanted to would be to, make sure that it connects and doesn't extend out past the garage. I guess it's not really extending it, but doesn't enclose the garage or something like that.
Between the properties.
That is right. So that
I don't
like
think we
said,
can rely on the image though, because it says may or may not be accurate and could be off by 2 to 3 feet in any direction. So I don't think we want to tie it necessarily to the diagram, but we can do it in relationship to the structure. That's what you're stating, right, Mr. Looney?
Yeah, that makes sense. I was thinking more of just like a generally follows that. But yeah, doing like you're saying, relating it to the structure can get more specific.
No, but let me ask. I was going to ask you: is the garage built on the property line, or is it 2 feet off?
It is 2 feet off.
So if the fence were to go on the property line, you would have a little less than 2 feet between the fence and your garage, correct?
If I put the fence between the two garages on the property line to the alley, that's correct. But I don't want that headache of trying to mow between the fence and the garage.
And if you took the fence to surround the garage, then you would have a problem getting out of your garage into the alleyway.
Right. I would never surround the garage. But let me just say this, the original drawing came off of the corner of my garage and went west. But putting it on the property line, it will have to go south for about a foot or two and then head west. So I just don't want there to be any misunderstanding that it's supposed to come off my garage and go directly west before it goes south to hit the property line. Do you know what I'm saying?
I understand. I was trying to visualize that and I was thinking, no, man, that might be a nice place to put a little gate. Who knows? Yeah, because I was thinking, that's another reason I was concerned about the drawing, because I'm trying to visualize, and I've seen the stake that you referred to.
Okay.
And, yeah, because I dropped off a volunteer from after school today who lives on the street. And as I came by, I could see there is a good bit of space there. And I could see your frame of reference for the stake. It does seem to be a good bit of space. So I wouldn't have any problem with that.
Thank you.
All right. Does anybody on the committee have any further questions? And again, just to recap, after the public hearing, there are 30 days to be able to make a decision. So you don't have to make a decision tonight. I think it would be nice if we could make one tonight, so that if granted one way or the other, they can get working on their fence for the summer and get that scheduled. But the committee is not forced to make a decision tonight. But is there any other? And again, there are technically 2 variances here. Both of them are essentially the same, to put the fence on the property line on the south edge of the properties, and to not require the center fence between the two.
Yes.
I would like to ask a question of Mrs. Markham.
Yes.
You have a stake out at the pin along Wagner Street, I believe it is, but going east. Do you know for sure where the property line is?
There's a stake out there, pin. There is a property pin out there as well. I was kind of feeling around for it today and couldn't find it, but it is pinned. And if you need to see the pin at the corner of that alley and my property line to the south, I can, dig around and find it, but it's there.
Well, I personally I don't feel like I need to see it, but if you're going to put a fence on the line, you need to make sure that you are on the line or your side. And that's why I bring this up.
Yes.
So if you're going to go on the line, you need to make sure that you're not
Over the line.
overstepping the line, quote unquote.
No, I imagine we'll
that would be my
probably,
concern.
we'll probably pull it in at least a couple of inches just to have that little wiggle room. Another fence that we built, that's what we did. We put the edge of the post. The post was a 4x4, and we pulled it 4 inches inside the property line, so that we had a 4-inch wiggle room between the actual fence and the property line.
Okay. Well, that was my only concern, because I think everything else is agreeable.
Right. And this is what I can do, is that if that is the sticking point, is that I can take the finder over tomorrow and find it and make an X where it's at. But her stakes appear to be spot right on from what I could see. But I could take it over tomorrow if that's what you want.
Well, I just want to make sure if we are going to allow it to be on the property line, that it's not
I can do that.
trespassing on the neighbor.
Okay, I can do that.
Yeah.
No, I'll make sure it's not. And that stake at where the stake is, there is a pin there. I just wanted to put the stake in just so we don't lose it in the ground.
Right.
But if you need any kind of anything different out there to show where the pins are, just let me know what you want. And I can get it done. I prefer to see the pins myself, but the grass kind of got away from me.
Darla, somebody will come over tomorrow and we'll find it, and then you'll know where it's at.
Okay, I appreciate that. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks. Do we have any further questions or discussion? If not, because these are technically two separate variances, I think we would need a motion and a second and a vote on each one independently, just to keep the record clean for it. Even though we've been discussing them as one because they are kind of the same, they are technically two different ones.
Does it matter which one we do first?
Nope. I guess we could, well, here, we got them in the old business order. Is there a motion to approve the 517 East Cliff Street fence variance?
And I don't have the variance in front of me, but that was for which one was that exactly?
It was to allow the fence across my property line and her property line, 517 and 521. It was to allow the fences to cross that.
517 is which one, Darla? Is that you or Tammy?
Oh, 517 is Tammy.
Conway then.
Yes, Conway.
Yeah. And again, Ken, they're both kind of the same because both of them are going to have a little bit of fence on the property line, and both of them need to have the variance to not have the requirement to have the fence on the property line that is between their two parcels.
I understand. I just want to make sure one of them is going to need a condition as far as the building goes. I just want to make sure we put that on the correct one.
That would be on the 521 one.
Okay. Okay, then I would make the motion that we approve the variance for Conway at 517 East Cliff Street.
All right. For a second?
I'll second that.
All right, second from Williamson. Is there further discussion on the 517 East Cliff Street fence variance? Hearing none, we'll do a roll call vote. Mauger?
Yes.
And Williamson?
Yes.
And Looney.
Yes.
All right. The 517 East Cliff Street variance will be approved. Moving on to the 517 East Cliff Street fence variance. Is there a motion to
521.
approve it?
It's 521. We just did
521.
517.
Oh, did I say them back? Okay, so this is the 521
Yes.
East Cliff Street
Markham.
fence variance. Is there a motion to approve that? And
I so
and
move.
if you are going to add conditions, this is where you would add them.
Do we want to add the condition that the fence can't extend on the property line between
The two
on the
garages.
on the south side of the garage?
Due to inadequate space.
All right. So the motion then is to approve the 521 East Cliff Street fence variance with the condition that on the south side, the fence cannot extend along the length of the garage.
I would second
Is
that.
there a second? All right. Is there further discussion on that? Hearing none. Roll call. Oh, I'm doing roll call. Sorry.
Who's doing it?
Williamson
Yes.
and Magra
Yes.
and Looney.
Yes.
All right. The 521 East Cliff Street fence variance with that condition will be approved.
Right.
Ms. Markham, Ms. Conway, I don't know if Terry will get the paperwork done for you tomorrow on that or not. She's pretty efficient, but just in case she doesn't, but that'll get coming to you. But since it has been approved, you're probably good to go ahead and get your fence people, out to get in contact with Terry if it's a contractor and go ahead and get that ball rolling.
Get the fence lined up.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. We're ready. We both have our puppies and we need the fence.
Aw.
All right.
I want to thank you all for your time for both meetings. And I do want to thank Rose for her time. And if I did not reach out to her, like maybe I should have, I do apologize for that, but we did before and thought that was sufficient and just didn't want to waste anyone's time. I wasn't trying to be sneaky or go behind anyone's back. Just trying to get my stuff done is all I'm doing.
And you did it in the right process, Darla. So
Okay.
thank you for your patience.
You were going to have to come here anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter.
I know.
Yep. All right. And then I will move on. I mentioned that Roger Woods is withdrawn his variance, so we won't have to have a meeting next week. I had no new business on the agenda, so does anybody on BZA have any business to bring up, old or new?
I know that you said that Mr. Faco was available next Thursday. I guess I'd like him to issue us some information to better understand I know there's information in our ordinances, but if instead of him having to be here, if he would just issue us an explanation to better understand how to deal with the non-conforming lot, then we would have that background in case we come back to that issue again.
Okay.
Could
I
we,
can ask them to get something on that.
Okay,
could
thank
we
you.
put that on the agenda for our next planning and zoning meeting? And we can invite Mr. Looney and Mr. Hankinson.
We could potentially do that as well. Yeah. So
I guess I just would
but
like to be better educated about it.
No, I think it's great.
no, absolutely.
Yep.
So we don't, at least as of right now, we don't have a BZA meeting. We don't have one next week, and we don't have one for June yet, but there are still time for people to get their requests in. So our next BZA meeting is to be determined based on applications. And with that, is there a motion to adjourn?
But this is Mrs. Conway, and Darlene does talking most of the time, but I just wanted to say thank you to everybody for going along with this, and we really appreciate it. And she just talks more than I do, so I just let her do the talking. I want to thank you to all of you, and to Rose if she's still listening. Thank you very much.
Yep. That's true. Rose, if you're still on, we do appreciate you joining and sharing your concerns and providing input for everyone tonight.
Yes, I'm still here, and apologize again about the audio issues. I'm glad we were able to straighten that out a little bit.
Yep. So, all right. Is there a motion to adjourn?
I'll make that motion.
All right. So I heard Mauger first, but I saw Looney also making it, so we'll give him the second. What Williamson in favor of adjournment?
Yes.
All right, then we'll call it a unanimous vote to adjourn at what time is it? 7:52. All right, everyone. Thank you, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your evening and the nice weather this weekend.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good night.
Thank you.
Good night.
See y'all.
Everyone.